My schedule is all over the map, and I just wanted to warn you, those of you who don't get notifications, that may be partly my fault, because I don't pre-schedule these. You know how you schedule things on YouTube and it gives you the algorithm? Uh, Problem is, I don't know when I'm going to be able to do a morning live. Some mornings I'm just out the door, and you just don't get time to. You're not sure what time you're gonna come online. Normally, I come on at 7:30ish. Lately, and now I'm at 6:30, so I'm a whole hour different, which kind of screws people up. Let me change my chat to live chat so I can actually see everybody's stuff. Hey, Devil Dog. Good morning. How you been? So, you can see it's still dark over here. Yesterday, my day started at 3:45, and that wasn't cool. So even though I got a half decent night's sleep last night, we had some storms roll in, which was good. But God, I'm still feeling that. I'm like, oh. And but today I'm actually shooting. What's funny is my job is partly technical, like engineering stuff, partly contract negotiations and contractual stuff. And then there's like this public relations bit of it. I do something different every day of the week and not necessarily in the same order. So I like it because I'm one of these people, I have 30 things going on in my brain at any given time. So being able to do different things every day is just really cool. Sometimes it can get exhausting because you just get confused with, you get up in the morning, you're like, what the hell was I supposed to do today? And you can go in one of 10 different directions. But yeah, I can't complain too much, right? So today I'm actually, this one's going to be another charity shoot, but this one's not ranked. Two of my 4 shooters, it's a small team instead of a 6-person team. It's only 4. It's morning only, and they're starting early, which I'm a fan of, because yesterday it was 100 degrees at noon, and it was up to 107 by dinner time, which was awful. A couple of shooters are kind of newer shooters, so as far as I'm concerned, they were like, well, we're not going to do well. I'm like, don't sweat it. Have fun and nobody gets hurt. We get free tacos or whatever the hell they're serving for breakfast, and we get to shoot frisbees. I mean, that's fucking cool, right? That's a day right there. And if one of us wins something in the raffle, great. If we don't, we get to see all our friends and talk smack. So, hey, what's up, farmer? How are you? So, I got another update from Hawaii. I spoke to my son. He's on the other island. And he's saying they could see the smoke. And that's not like a short distance. You know, you need like a little airplane to go from one island to the other. And he said, no, but Lahaina, the city, that little city, is about 80% gone right now. And that's sad. That's horrifying. I did not get an update for the Austin fires. And so I'm waiting for my daughter to wake up for work, because she's just outside of town and on the north side, so she would kind of know, she'd be able to see or hear what's going on and see what she's got. Fortunately, her fiance is I can't see that. Hey, what's up, Dan? Hey, Dominic, what's going on? Were you saying really dad or really Dan? I couldn't see. It went by. It's all teeny weeny on my phone. But in any case, I don't have an update from, hey, good morning, Lioness. I do not have an update from Austin. I'll go touch base with some family and friends I have in that area and see what they can tell me. But I do believe the big ass farmers market is tomorrow, so that should be fun. Today will be an interesting day because it'll be the event in the morning, and then one of our coworkers was hired by another company, and it was a good move for her. She's a very young engineer, and she got a really good opportunity to move up in her career very early, which is great. Hey, Coffee. Hey, Moonsprout. And so I feel like a very proud uncle, when you see one of the nieces and nephews do really well. You're like, yes, I knew her when she started. Look how good she's doing. And you get real excited. But anyway, all the co-workers from both companies are going to take her out for like a gathering. So basically, I'm going to be in the sun for the whole morning, and then I'm going to drink tequila, which probably now in hindsight doesn't sound very good idea. Although I won't have to drink much tequila if I'm already dehydrated and tired. I have like 2 shots and be like, all right, I'm done. I'm going home. And that's assuming I don't get there and the young pups are already wasted, in which case it'll be a very short trip because I'll just go there and say hi and leave. But yeah, folks, it's this Austin and Hawaii thing, that's bad stuff. I'm still hearing stories of families that got separated. You can't emphasize enough that you need to have at least some kind of plan as to where you're gonna meet if things go really badly. One family reported that when the mom and dad saw the fire approaching the town from the hillside, they were like, that's not right. So instead of just taking pictures and TikToks, they went to their hotel room. They each had like a little backpack because they'd been hiking earlier that week. And they said they put all their food, extra footwear, and a change of clothes inside a garbage bag inside their backpacks. So they basically made a waterproof mini bag. And hey, Jake, what's going on? Good morning. And by the time they left their little hotel or the guest house, the fire had already traveled about a mile, hit the side of the town, and was starting to engulf the buildings. So they ran into the they actually ran into the bay, and then they were getting knocked into the seawall, so they had to go further out. And then they found a beach that was not full of smoke, and someone else had already landed there. So hey Dan, hey Redleg. So a group of folks kind of congregated there, and then a firefighter shows up, and they're like, what do we do? Where are the rest of your people? And the firefighter apparently got separated from the rest of his crew. Something happened, and they had to back away. And in maneuvering, he fell off the truck. I don't know what the hell happened, or he was patrolling and he was by himself. So he basically, his cards caught fire. So he basically told everyone, look, y'all follow me. I don't know if we're gonna live to see tomorrow, but if I tell you to run, run. And if I tell you to jump, jump. And if I tell you run back to the water, run back to the water. And he was able to get them to an area that was more rocky, that had nothing that could catch fire. And the Coast Guard spotted them, and then they were able to get a helicopter and start plucking people out. But yeah, that's bad when the firefighters, like your responders, are getting separated from each other. Something bad has happened. The satellite pictures of that island are really sad. That's some bad stuff. So it just emphasizes, you never know when you're gonna have to get up and move, and do it quickly, to prevent yourself from getting caught in a bad situation. And that guy just walked. He's opening his store. I just passed this little business, and he's opening the store, and I guess the other guy tried to pull the door and walked into the door, and the owner's like, what are you doing, dude? And it's like, your employee is clearly either stoned or he's not awake yet. He needs coffee immediately. At least get a wide awake stoner, because that kid just walked into a door while I was making that turn. Yeah, it's always good ideas to, and actually, and a few different channels have talked about it. I really need to go through my bag. As we get late into the summer, I'm going to start getting into the fall and see what I have in there. I actually go through my bag a minimum a couple of times a year, just to make sure I have weather and seasonally appropriate equipment in my truck. They were saying that the cars that caught fire then exploded and were sending shrapnel everywhere, which is something I hadn't thought of. Is bomb technician. If you're not running, you better run faster. Yeah. Hey, Daryl, what's going on? So, yeah, the cars were exploding. They had propane tanks near some building. Those obviously exploded. And, you know, a lot of people, they said that the death count is going to go up, sadly, because a lot of people weren't ready. Or even worse, they tried to fight the fire and got trapped. Yeah, that's unfortunate, but it just speaks to how you need to be ready to be mobile in the event something happens. A lot of people, you know, we conceptually think about it, but let's say your bug out bag has everything you need in a given situation. Are you prepared to throw that thing on your back and walk 5 miles at a brisk pace? Let's say you don't have to run, but you got to move. Can you do that? Have you tried it? You know, I have buddies, actually a coworker who's like, you know, he bought a 511 bag for a hunt he went on, and he came back. He's like, I really got to get back in shape, man. He said, I've gained, 30, 40 pounds. He gained a lot of weight. But he told me, he's like, man, I put this bag on and we were hiking to the stands. He was doing some kind of moose hunt or whatever. He was in the mountains, not in Texas. And he said, I was dying. See, Nunya, if you can get underground and not get killed by smoke, that definitely will protect you. My big concern would be, like heavier smoke from burning particulates would come down, and then you could wind up literally in a pit of smoke. Oh, speaking of that, 3 hog hunters got killed here in Texas. They were, what part of Texas? It was towards South Texas, like not deep South Texas like Rio Grande or McAllen, more toward the Uvalde area. The 3 hunters were from out of state, but they had a pig lease. They had rented the lease. They were with a dog, or their dogs, and a dog fell into, I guess, what was a subsurface cistern of some type. And the owner of the dog went to get the dog and passed out. 2 other people went to get the first guy, also passed out. So the last person called 911, and fire rescue got there. The dog and all 3 individuals were dead when they arrived. And what apparently had happened, the minute I read that part, I said, I know what happened. It was hydrogen sulfide. Sure enough, when firefighters arrived, they tested the air in the cistern, and it was emitting methane, hydrogen sulfide, and some other chemicals. So chemicals either were in there or they had leached. And elevation is more of a butt kicker than not being in shape. Yes. That's a good point, Dan, because I went from Houston, which was at sea level, to West Texas, which is higher than Vegas in elevation. And I started running and I was dying. I thought I'd had a stroke or something. I was like, I can't run. I don't understand. And it didn't occur to me at the time that I was not only in a much more less humid environment, but I was actually at 3,000 foot elevation versus 5 foot elevation. That's a huge difference. So that's a good point too, is high elevation. But folks, what happened to these hunters with the hydrogen sulfide, you guys, and it's happened before. Whenever you see construction workers working in a manhole, you notice they'll pull the manhole cover off, they put their cones, and then they put this big yellow tube in there. They're ventilating the subsurface because there's an accumulation of hydrogen sulfide, methane, all sorts of nasty stuff, both naturally occurring and man-made, will accumulate in subsurface areas. You got to be mindful if somebody passes out going into a cavern or into a tank, don't just run in there. I took the medic first aid refresher certification last week, and the first thing they said when you see someone go down, what do you do? And yes, thank you, Northern Girl. Confined spaces will absolutely kill you. And that's the OSHA terminology she's using. The first thing he said was make sure it's safe to approach. You think about it, most people instinctively, you see someone you care for drop on the ground unexpectedly. And what do? You go to them because it's human nature, right? And, in a case like, dude, you need a turning signal when you do that shit. Come on now. It's human nature to go and help that other person. And, in this case, it cost 3 people their lives, and the dog died anyway. When somebody falls in a confined space, you've got to be careful with what you do. You like pets more than people. So, canary in a mine, yes, absolutely. And what's ironic, birds have, Pennsylvania EMT's not wrong, birds have a very high metabolic rate, which is why they used to keep them in the caves, because if they dropped, everyone else had to leave. Nice, getting the pressure canner going. I'm going to shoot stuff again, so, I was going to do a free shit Friday, Northern Girl. I actually won a freaking handgun at the last shoot. But I wasn't shooting, I was volunteering. It was a scholarship fundraiser. We didn't do any fundraisers in 2020 and 2021. There were very few. And so a lot of kids were hurting, to get that money to make ends meet, because you think about it, a college kid, even a couple of $1,000s, that's their book money for the year. That's their meal plan. So, if we can go out and the companies sponsor it, the company takes a tax write-off, right? And, it's good public relations, blah, blah, blah. But, we can give 100 kids a scholarship or a check for books or for food. Man, that's paying it forward, right? We've done a good thing. But yeah, I was going to do a free shit Friday with that one, but I had to run out so early, I completely forgot. But yeah, and by the way, Northern Girl spot on. If you have the time this weekend, it's going to be hot down south anyway. Great weekend to do canning or food preservation. But yeah, folks, a lot of lessons. There's a lot of little things going on, and there's a lot we can learn from other people's issues. That would never happen in Canada. So even though it's a giveaway, I get a certificate, right? Like a gift certificate. The facility, the clay shooting place, has a firearms there, but I still have to do my background check because I have a Texas license to carry, which includes the fingerprints and the background check. They do the paperwork, they send it to the system, and I can walk out within the hour, so to say, as soon as the paperwork clears. If you don't have that license, they actually have to run you through the system repeatedly to verify you haven't fallen off the rails or something. So you still have the background check goes on for that kind of purchase or that kind of win. But yeah, people take for granted that we can do that out here, which is nice, right? But back to my point, folks, there's a lot of bad things or unfortunate things that are happening. These are good opportunities for y'all. Thank you, Northern Girl. These are great opportunities for y'all to look at what they're going through and then ask yourself, okay, if I was in that situation, how would I handle it, right? What you're doing, you're running mental exercises. For those of you who watched The Angry Prepper last night, not his second video, I missed that, I fell asleep, his first one last night, which should have been under The Angry Prepper, not The Angry Truth. He talks about how the prepping community, regardless of where we are, right? Some of us are very advanced, some are not. Some have lots of food, some have less. We're gonna probably do a lot better both in material and psychologically, than the general public. And he said it's partly because we do these mental exercises, right? We collaborate, we listen to each other. And I mean, I don't know everything, guys. I'd like to think I'm a relatively smart guy. There's shit I read or watch and go, I had no idea that existed, every day. But because we all inquire, we maintain that open mindset, that thoughtful mindset that, Northern Girls canning, right? I'm sure, I don't know about y'all, I'm sitting here going, I really need to start doing that. Just, even if I only do little batches, just to understand how it's done. Hell, I may give them all away because I have nowhere to put them. But I should do it anyway, just so I understand it. Thank you, Jen. And that speaks volumes to the type of people all of us are. Really, because we're constantly looking and thinking, and it's the people who don't think, they don't act. They're like I have members in my family who go, I don't want to think about that, it's too stressful. Well, no, you need to think about it, because what's going to happen is, if something happens, you're going to be caught flat-footed, and you won't know what to do. So you're going to wait for the government to help you. And I promise you, when the government comes into an area in an emergency, we can't, as a guardsman, I can speak to this. We help who we can. We're not focused on individuals. We're focused on the infrastructure, making sure the water, the food, the roads are clear. And it's not being ugly. It's just a reality. You only have so many people and so many assets. It's like, let's get the grid back up. Let's get water running. Let's put out any fire so it doesn't burn down whatever location we're at. If people make it to us, we process them and take care of them. But our assets are going to be localized. And then it's also to keep law and order. So an individual family that was not paying attention, they're going to be kind of SOL, right? The Texas governor, I loved it. He was telling people, you better get during one of the hurricanes. If you stay on the coast, after the winds hit 30 miles an hour, I'm not sending my cops out after you. You're on your own. Hey, Canadian. And anyone I missed in the chat, I'm sorry. We're not going to risk our people's lives for you, sadly. Write your social security number on your arm with a Sharpie, so if we find your body, we know how to identify you. And it wasn't him being ugly. People got upset, and he's like, no, I'm not going to lose 2 firefighters because you're not listening to us. So, hey, it's Friday. People are still stupid. Yeah, this is true. But because we're of that mentality as a community, we like to inquire, we like to listen to each other's ideas, we like to collaborate. My mother, Spark, had a video, well, she put out a video about her little bunnies that were just born. And Northern Girl has pugs. You want to see a bunch of little potato dogs run around, you can watch Northern Girl as well. Jen, put your own link in the chat if you're still there. But we all have different ways of doing things, and not necessarily right or wrong, right? It's just different. So thank you, Devil Dog. And there's a lot of new creators in the chat. Devil Dog, I need to get with you, by the way, on some of your questions. I thought I answered all of them. I realized I may not have answered one. But learning from one another, and then reading the news and going, wow, if that happened here, what would I do about it? These are the kind of things that keep our minds active. Again, I have a relative who moved to Houston. Hurricane Ike hit, but they were on the outskirts of town, and they're like, oh, you worry too much. So I became the paranoid conspiracy theorist. I'm sure many of you have been called that. And then Harvey hit, and it hit on their side of town. And Houston geographically is a big-ass city. It takes up a lot of space. And I get a call, a text saying, hey, can you come get us because the water's coming up our driveway? And I was like, no, I can't. I said, why did you wait so long? They're like, well, we're running out of water and food. This was day 2. Day 2. And it hadn't really gotten flooded. Like most of the roads, you could, if you waited a bit and the water went down, you could still finagle away, with the risk that you'd get to a store and then get trapped at the store because you couldn't get back because another burst of rain would come through. And I'm like, well, why the hell did you not listen to me? I told you, get cases of water. I told you that months ago before hurricane season started, and you told me I was paranoid. I'm not going to go and risk getting swept into a bayou and drowning or getting my truck damaged because you did not listen to me for the last... And mind you, this was 7 years they'd lived there. So they moved there to Texas from the East Coast just before Ike, which was in 08. Harvey hit in 17. Is literally like 19 years later. And they'd learned nothing with all the storms and hurricanes. I'm like, I can't help you. Y'all are on your own. I got teenagers at my house. I got the guards already put me on standby. I'm not going to leave family to pick y'all. And then what am I going to do? Now I'm bringing you here, and you've got no preps. You clearly aren't ready for anything. You're just going to come here and be a pain in my ass. That's assuming I can even get to you and blow out my tire. Because think about it, if you're driving in 3 feet of water, even if your truck can get through it, I can't see what's in the water because it's all muddy, right? I hit a rock, I hit, whatever, and I blow out a tire, my truck's gonna sink. I'm screwed. Now I'm walking in that water full of shit and piss and chemicals. No, y'all should have bailed. Just zombies. So to me, it's frustrating. And that's why I think we as a community, all of y'all, you may not think you're ready, you're more ready than most of the people out there. Because most of them are going, la, 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 I don't want to hear it. And custom-made foil hats. I was going to do a tinfoil hat series with really oddball alien shit. And I told my wife, I'm like, I need a tinfoil hat. And she was going to make me a Viking helmet. No, exactly, Lioness. My husband actually made me one. Oh, that's funny. Wasting the foil. That's a good point. I mean, you could use the foil for other things. But, yeah, folks. So when people tell you, oh, you're being paranoid, you're being this or that, don't listen to them. I mean, look at what's happening to people right now. Look at what's happening in Hawaii. Look what happened in Austin. Look at the riots. Imagine having a guy like me. I go to a business meeting. I'm in suit and tie, whatever, right? Doing the business thing. Have a meeting, come out, and Antifa and the cops are having a brawl. They're throwing Molotovs around. And here I am in a frickin' suit, right? At least I wear dark suits, so I'd probably blend into the crowd, kinda. But not really, right? Like, you want to be able to get to your truck and change into something that's more practical for that situation, right? But we're thinking of that stuff. I have an extra set of hiking boots in my truck. It's an older pair. I bought the new pair for day-to-day use. The old ones are still good. They're in my truck. They stay here. And I got a pair of steel-toed boots, and that's more for work. But, something were to happen, and I need to leave my truck and say I'm wearing business shoes, or steel toes or very heavy boots, I can take those off. I got a pair of socks and hiking boots back here, grab my backpack, and out the door I go. How hard would you wish if you had all the access to pre-Haskin destroyed in a few weeks? Oh, wow. Jen, you need to get, people to help you. To harvest, and then you can start canning. Can you can those berries? I'm not familiar with that type of berry. I'm sure you can make a jam or something out of them, no? Because that would be a waste. That's terrible. I'm thinking of driving to Canada. But yeah, folks, one, don't get disheartened. I think we as a community are way ahead of the game. And two, I think we're better prepared psychologically to deal, because when we see bad things happen, we're like, we may be shocked at first, but then we'll say, wait a minute, we talked about this on Angry Prep or Northern Girl or Vision or My Mother's Spark. Somebody talked about this. And even though you may not be able to get the video, you can still say, what can we do? What did they say? I know I have stuff for this situation. I always keep spare boots and clothes. Yeah, you have to. But how many people do? Think about it. How many people truly think of those things? What's funny, I'm going to tell you all something hilarious. On TikTok, I have a large following on TikTok. I'm not sure what I did, but I do. And I looked at the demographic, and it's almost 80% women, and it's a lot of moms. And you think about it, young moms raising their kids during the Rona, during all the things that have since happened, the riots and everything. A lot of these younger parents grew up in a really bad time, right? They're raising their families in bad and hard times. This resonates with them. It's kind of like if you ever met people from the Great Depression, being hungry or seeing hardship, that changed the rest of their life. And I really think there's hope for some of the Gen Z folks, for a lot of them, because I'm seeing that light go on in their heads where they're like, wait a minute, I should keep extra clothes for my kids in my car because if there's an emergency, right? And it's just the questions I'm getting. The two-tone beard, yeah. It's the two-tone beard, okay. Maybe so. I'm like the most interesting man in the world, but I'm really not. I'm just kind of annoying. I should dress like him for next Halloween. I actually was gonna dress like a Viking for next Halloween. I got some former service members that their de-stress in the fall is to go to Renaissance Festival here in Texas and dress like Vikings, and then they get really shit-faced with their wives who dress like whatever Viking Valkyrie hoochie thing, and then they all get wasted. I'm like, that sounds like a plan. I should dress like a Viking and go get drunk, and then do a live stream with a bunch of drunk Marines. That would be the shit. I'd probably get kicked off YouTube right after that, but it would be worth it, right? I mean, if you're gonna get kicked off. Holy cow, look at that guy. You saw that truck go by me? He's in the oncoming traffic lane, and he just passed 5 vehicles and a semi as we're approaching a hill. This is how people die, dude. Every time I see people like this, I hear that song, Dumb Ways to Die, in my head. See, and I'm not in a rush because the clay shooting facility is like right up here. So, and I never understood, somebody just commented about the Marines. There's a pile of Marines out here in this like grassy, hilly nothing of West Texas. And I'm like, why did you join the Marines? You think if you grew up in the country, you join the Army, right? Or maybe the Navy because you want to see the ocean. And I'm thinking, well, they like to shoot, they like to fight, they like to drink, and they want to see water. So they're like, where can I do all of those things? The Marine Corps. And then they got sent to, half of them got sent to Iraq, which sucks way more than this place. And they're like, well, that fucking sucks. So they came back home. I mean, seriously, all of the military guys I know out here, there's one really jacked up Coast Guard guy, and he did like drug intervention and trafficking related stuff. And man, but he's yeah, that's they probably just came out here. I want to show you that sunset again. This one's going to be a nice one. Hang on, guys. Oh no, my camera's been blocked the other way. Wait, hold on. Doggone it. It didn't do it. All right, sorry guys, I was trying to turn the camera around and show you a sunset. Oh, they brought mobile ice sales and rental. I guess they're getting set up. Nobody's here. I beat everybody here today except the owner. All right, well, I guess I'm hanging out with you guys for a few more minutes. But yeah, folks, well, we're supposed to start in registering in like 30 minutes and nobody's here. So this is clearly going to start late. Yeah, sunrise, sorry, not sunset. If I said sunset, that's terrible. That's the wrong thing. So last time I was here, somebody backed into a metal post. If it's setting, we in trouble. Oh man, if it's setting, I need to just go home. Like the day is over for me. Oh man. Like I said, a little sleep deprivation really mess you up. But look, folks, there's a lot of lessons to be learned with it out there in Hawaii, in Austin. Even with talking about, there's a resource there of berries that's going to be damaged or destroyed in some ways. That's a great example of, wow, when you have a resource, take advantage of it. If you're not going to, get in trouble or steal from someone else, if it's there available to the public, take the time to take advantage of it. And, learn from other people's mistakes. Yeah, I know. It's, man, I'll rent a truck and go trick-or-treating downtown Ottawa. Sunrise, I hope. Yeah. Shitting crayons. That's terrible. Make sure you have a backup channel before you get kicked off. No, you know what? I do have to start a backup channel. Fortunately, I've finagled some software I have to where all of my YouTube videos, for the most part, are being dropped onto Rumble as well. And then I'm also, even my live streams straight on YouTube, no StreamYard, are going to Rumble. A lot of them go to Facebook. I'm not a fan of Facebook, but if it can store videos, that's fine by me. And I have a 1 terabyte hard drive, so I'm storing like footage and whatnot there. I am going to work on I did a video on the Holocaust Museum and the Holocaust itself last month. I have the footage collected for the JFK building, the book depository. So I actually got to sit at the window or next to the window where Lee shot Kennedy. Wait, he was making a joke. Oh no, I figured sunrise great for mental medicine. Oh yeah, no, I know. I got the reference about eating crayons. Okay, you got to understand. My clay shooting team 2 shoots ago was a MARSOC guy, a logistics guy, both in the Corps, the Coast Guardsman, and a grunt who willingly lost his marbles because he thinks it's more fun to live that way. The roaming Peter. Oh, that would be terrible. Name the backup channel the roaming Peter. That would get banned for sounding like porn. Jeez, that's terrible. The roaming Peter. No, I have a couple of ideas. If I do an alternative channel, I want to do one where I can get not just prepping, but I can do other stuff. Although I've done that here too. Looked prep, I believe, if you can become a firefighter, first responder in your area. Oh, rabid coyote, that's absolutely true. I went through the FEMA integrated command systems courses, all of them. Damn. Oh no, FEMA. And I'm like, y'all, FEMA's not capable of running a concentration camp. Like, they can barely get food out half the time. I'd be more worried about like some federal agencies or companies being evil. But yeah, being involved with volunteer firefighting. Also, your companies offer classes. Like, I got to do the first aid CPR recertification. Even though it wasn't with the Red Cross card, it's more like a refresher. It's a 2-year refresher, right? 2 weeks ago, or 3 weeks before that, I took the active shooter class, right? This kind of stuff is good. It's knowledge, right? And that goes with you. Our local fire department is in need of, we need to 175 foot tower. Yeah, no, like, they need me to be a dispatcher. Absolutely. I can multitask, watch multiple screens. I do it every day for work, but But yeah, I'm not going up no damn tower. I already had to halfway jump off a drilling rig once, which was not cool. Considering if we didn't get to the other platform, we were going to go 120 feet into the water, which probably would have broke one of our ankles if we didn't hit flat and would have knocked us unconscious. Conservation down here in Lebanon to free military gear free. Well, you know what? When we were, so during Harvey, some of the guys, we were lacking stuff because, you know, screwed up. And that's when they were switching from the ACU digital camo back to the OCP, which is this pattern. And one of the guys was like, man, I need another cover because he got wet and he got gasoline on him. And he's like, I need a new uniform. And we went to the supply sergeant and he's like, do not bring this back because we're doing away with them. And he had an entire like 20 by 40 facility full of shit, like web gear and belts and OCPs, not OCPs, ACU stuff and boots. And he's like, what do you need? And the guy's like, I need these 4 things for my guys. And he just went and got them. Here you go away. Do I need to bring them back? Nope, those are being retired. And the guy's like, all right. Because he had told a few of us, he's like, look, you guys want to come back, get extra pants and junk this shit anyway, or surplus it. And I never got to go back. I got sent to the other side of town, and I regret that. So yeah, if you get the chance to get free surplus, do it. But, well, look, folks, make sure you pay attention to what happens, even though it's not going to hurt you directly. You know, stuff happening on the other side of the world, because it's important stuff that you can learn from. And if you can tag along with the EMTs, the cops, the firefighters, or if they do a public class or even a lecture, like they're doing a speech to the public, go sit in on it and understand what they're talking about and how the system works. Okay, this is why we'll do better than the public, because I'll see the supply trucks and go, they're going to a staging area. They're going to set up a POD, which Pennsylvania EMT and Rabid Coyote probably know what a POD is. They're going to do this. They're going to do that. And you start looking at what they're doing. You're like, I know what you guys are doing. But a lot of the public are going to freak. So if God wanted me to fly, I'd have wings. Yeah, well, if God wanted me on snow skis, he would have given me snow skis, because my Spanish ass broke it several times trying to ski in Quebec, and I was like, screw that. The second time I went to Canada was over in Calgary, and I opted not to play on the hills and found the bar, and that's where I camped my ass out, and I was way happier that way. And they had a good band that night. So anyway, folks, you guys be safe, careful. If you are south of pretty much south of Illinois, it's going to be triple digits for most of us, guys. So be careful out there. But yeah, become involved. And by the way, not just being a responder. He said, get on a board. Yeah, get on the city planning commission. Sit in on city council meetings. Get to know the sheriff's department. They even have courses for civilians, not to be cops, but to be like familiar with the police protocols and events and stuff. Get involved so you can see it. That's one of the reasons I do these events, because it's part of my job. But I get to meet everybody. We always have a speaker out here. I got to hear the speaker of our city, or the mayor of our city, as a speaker at a dinner. And I'm sitting with 2 CEOs, and we just happen to be on the same table. And I got to hear her thoughts on where they're going to go, what they're going to do, the funding, triad of necessity, your local state oftentimes. And actually, EMT, correct me if I'm wrong, but volunteer fire departments always need funding if they can get extra cash. So a lot of them do like first aid classes, and you pay like $20 a person or something nominal, and you can arrange a whole group, correct? I thought he had a channel, Jen, but he may not. Do me a favor, Devil Dog in Pennsylvania, if you're still on, find my emails and shoot me an email. It's theroamingprepper@gmail.com. Shoot me an email, because I do want to, and Rabid Coyote as well, if you want to come on. I might want to do a first responders live stream, and I want to see if I can get Jason as well, because Jason's seen some shit. If I can get my drunken Marine Corps buddy to come on, that's assuming he's so well. If I brought him on drunk, that would be funny too, and see how that works. But yeah, send me an email. And Texas Redleg was in law enforcement as well. Like, I need to get a few of you guys on. I think that would be really valuable to have a group of people who are responders to kind of throw ideas around. Okay, yeah, and yeah, we need to. I think we need to all the creators. We need to take an educational approach. I will tell you this before I go. I'm listening to the analysts and the forecasters. Everyone's saying the price of fuel is going to go up again in Q4 for sure. Q3 is going to be kind of iffy. It could be wrong, but if it does, remember the last time we hit 100 and something barrel oil, 100 and something dollar barrel per oil, that affected everything else. And when it affects diesel, it affects production, energy in general, canned goods, trucking, transport, everything goes up. So try to be cognizant of that. Plan accordingly. Somebody reported a rice shortage, but we're not seeing it. I'm seeing a little bit inflationary pricing on the rice here domestically, but it's not earth-shattering yet. But if you can, get that extra 20-pound bag of rice and Mylar this shit, go for it. Do it now. That's a 20-year lifespan. Sadly, my son and his wife are transferring with the Army back to Texas, and I had stocked up their fridge with about $300 worth of meat, $400 of meat. I bought him a food saver, and I showed her how to use it, and we did steaks, chicken, fish, but the Army will not transport frozen goods, so she's going to have to give all the meat away, which means when I see them for Christmas, I'm going to have to start all over again with the food saver bags and start stocking up their little fridge. So, and that's a bummer when you relocate, like the military or the energy sector. There's some stuff you can't bring, and you got to give it away. So, yeah, and that's why I'm afraid to can, because they may not take all those food products. All right, I got to think about how I'm going to do that now that I'm thinking of it. But folks, get involved, learn stuff, and remember, we're thinking about stuff that other people are going to react to weeks after it happens. That's why we're going to do better. You guys be careful, stay safe, and hey, you know what, EMT? If you get it in the green bin and you food saver it and freeze it right then and there, you just extended the life for 18 months, so why not? People don't think like that. Unless the meat is bad at that moment, season it, salt it, stick it in a food saver, and away it goes. But guys, be safe. There's still nobody here. This is going to start so freaking late. Anyway, you guys be good. Keep out of trouble. And I'll see you guys later on. And Jen, as always, to my mods, and I think Jen was the only one I saw this morning. Thank you. Because you are the busiest woman I've ever met. And I appreciate you jumping in this morning. The rest of you guys, take care. Be safe. And collaborate. Learn. Don't get stressed out. Ask yourself, what would I do if this happened here? You guys be good. God bless.